Cowboys Mike McCarthy reveals QB regret after crushing loss to Texans. It just might not be the Dallas Cowboys' year, as they fell to 3-7 after losing to the Houston Texans 34-10 in Week 11. Likewise, this loss just adds to the team's woes this season. Dak Prescott's season-ending injury, calls to fire Mike McCarthy, an injury to tight end Jake Ferguson, and a literal falling roof part at AT&T Stadium, making fans of America's team even more miserable than before. After the loss, Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy also shared one of his quarterback regrets during the game. "The one thing I should have did at the end, and I didn't do, is put Trey Lance in there. Could have gotten him a series," the coach said via NFL on CBS, as shared on X, formerly Twitter. In the absence of Prescott, the Cowboys leaned on Cooper Rush to help them win games, including this Week 11 clash with the Texans, echoing owner and GM Jerry Jones' trust in the backup quarterback. "Cooper has shown that he has the capability to compete and win games. He does give us our best chance," Jones had said on 105.3 The Fan prior to Week 11, as reported by Jacob Kamenker for USA Today. True enough, Rush has had a 5-1 record when starting for the Cowboys, winning his first 5 career starts since 2021 to 2022, becoming the first quarterback in Cowboys history, 14th in the NFL, to complete such a streak. However, in his first start versus the Eagles this season, Rush only managed to generate 45 yards and 6 points, completing 13 of 23 passes. Still, that performance happened against one of the league's toughest defenses since their Week 5 bye. Against the Texans, Rush finished 32-55, with 354 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Still, the Cowboys showed why they are one of the worst teams in the NFL this season, as they could not overcome a Houston team that managed to pull away despite not playing all that well. This result most probably fed into McCarthy's regret that he didn't play Trey Lance in Week 11. He probably thought that putting Lance out there practically admitted defeat for himself and his team, especially now that their playoff hopes have dimmed by the week. The season is over? With 8 games left on their schedule, the Cowboys might not want to actively try winning anymore, so Mike McCarthy might also want to see if their other backup QB had something to contribute. They had given up a 4th-round pick to acquire Trey Lance from the San Francisco 49ers in 2023. Additionally, Lance will become a free agent after this year, and the Cowboys might want to spend the last games of this forgettable season checking if he deserves a developmental slot behind Prescott. Otherwise, another team might want to sign the 1st-round pick depending on his play, giving the Cowboys a compensatory selection they could use on another player. Bill Belichick seen as likely to be among Jerry Jones' top HC options. Dallas Cowboys fans looking for reasons for optimism amid a 3-6 start to the season might find some in the form of arguably the greatest coach in NFL history. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported on the team's coaching situation during Monday Night Countdown and raised the possibility of Bill Belichick potentially heading to the Cowboys next season. "Lots of speculation swirling about what the Cowboys will do," Schefter said. "People have even thought about Bill Belichick having been spotted in Dallas last week." It can be confirmed Bill Belichick was in Dallas last week, but it wasn't to meet with the Cowboys. It was for a previously scheduled speaking engagement. Still, that doesn't stop the idea that there are people across the league who continue to believe that Bill Belichick will be one of the top considerations for Jerry Jones after the season. While Mike McCarthy is the team's head coach, things are trending in the wrong direction in his 5th season. Dallas has won 1 playoff game during his tenure and will likely fall well short of the postseason this time around given its record and a season-ending hamstring injury to quarterback Dak Prescott. Frankly, it's more of the same for a franchise that hasn't made it past the 2nd round of the playoffs since the 1995 campaign. The Cowboys were among the league's most dominant teams in the early 90s, but have largely become a punchline in recent years as the postseason struggles continue. It's hard to think of a better coach to help change that than Belichick. The legendary figure won 6 Super Bowls during his time with the New England Patriots and led one of the greatest dynasties in league history. New England went to 9 Super Bowls in all and went 266-121 during his 24 seasons as head coach. Belichick's partnership with quarterback Tom Brady was the biggest reason for that sustained success, so perhaps he can help Prescott maximize his talents in the years to come. After all, The franchise quarterback just agreed to a new 4-year, $240 million extension ahead of the season and figures to be under center for the foreseeable future. Asking Belichick and Prescott to replicate the success the coach enjoyed with Brady would be too much to ask, but any type of sustained playoff success would be a welcome development for the Cowboys. Cowboys Zach Martin, Tyler Smith go down with injuries versus Texans. On the Week 11 edition of Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys lost more than their contest against the Houston Texans. That's right, as fans watched Cooper Rush's offense struggle to get much going on through the air, plus special teams, and Jake Ferguson enter concussion protocol. Two more members of the Cowboys were taken out of the game in Zach Martin and Tyler Smith, who exited the game on the very same play. Playing 588 and 573 out of a possible 613 snaps for the Cowboys through the first 10 games of the 2024 NFL season, Smith and Martin have been two of the brighter spots of a Cowboys offense that has been largely devoid of much to root for. Granted, it's not like the Cowboys are using their offensive line to run the ball effectively, as they have never been able to get much going on the ground in 2024. But when it comes to holding things down in the passing game, Smith, Martin, and the rest of the offensive line have been the only things keeping the quarterback position from going to the birds, or at least more to the birds than it is already. Forced to go to the bench for part of the game, Rush ended up being sacked 5 times for minus 34 yards. Sure, he ended up throwing for a career-high 354 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception on 35 completions versus 55 attempts, a minor consolation prize at the end of a 3-hour disappointment. But in the end, Rush added another loss to his record against a Texans team that can be beaten defensively and may now have to play without 2 of their anchors up front. And worst of all, as if it can't get any worse, it's not like the Cowboys have some impressive collection of young players just ready to shine, as much of Dallas' offensive line is banged up, and there's no blue chipper just waiting in the wings to become the next great offensive lineman. Needless to say, it's not a great time to be a Cowboys fan. Cowboys fans are done with another Dallas disappointment. Speaking of fans being broken up about losing Smith, Martin, and the rest of the Cowboy situation, with some, like ESPN's Jay Tuck, giving a middle finger to the 2024 Cowboys season. Others, like Skip Bayless, suggested that the Cowboys should have called it a game early, as continuing to operate without 2 of the team's top 5 offensive linemen could put Rush in danger.